Darkbeast Paarl, a malformed beast enveloped in blue lightning. With a long body made of only bones and a wrinkle-covered skull, people say this beast must be very old, very ancient. Or perhaps it is a descendant of the city of the plague of beasts. The long, sinuous body of the beast is comprised almost entirely of bones. It attacks its victims with jerky, erratic movements, while discharging electrical currents through its twisted, ancient body. This electric beast emerges from giant skeletal remains. With lightning coursing through his body, it bombards the player with its erratic and off-speed movements. Preparation. Purchase a load of Molotovs, and if you have any oil urns, save them for this battle. Be absolutely sure you've obtained the Radiant Sword Hunter badge from the Healing Church workshop so you can stock up on bone marrow ash and fire paper. If you haven't already acquired the flame sprayer from Gilbert in Central Yarnum, do so, or buy one from the shop in the Hunter's Dream. The saw spear is an excellent choice for this fight, as the boss is weak against both thrust attacks and anti-beast weapons. Henrik's attire is useful due to its comparatively high lightning defense. By using the monocular to aim, you can hit him with Molotovs and throwing knives from outside the boss area. After you encounter him for the first time, and triggering him to wake up, by alternating between oil urns and Molotovs in this manner, you can reduce his health by more than half before even passing through the nightmare fog. Overview. Darkbeast Paarl is an extremely agile and aggressive boss whose attacks can be incredibly difficult to avoid. He will constantly circle you outside the reach of your melee attacks, and will immediately back up if you advance toward him, preventing you from being able to hit him or use the blind spot underneath him to avoid his melee swings. He will continuously reposition himself in order to keep you at mid-range while leaping in to strike with wide horizontal sweeps and overhead slams. And will perform combos of up to 4 hits with massive range and highly varied timing. Dealing heavy damage to Paarl's head in a short period of time will stagger him and allow you to perform a frontal visceral attack. Repeatedly striking his limbs will knock him down and dispel the lightning aura, at which point he'll take 50% more damage until he restores it. Almost all of Paarl's physical attacks leave lingering trails of lightning that will damage you on contact. Some of them also generate large spherical blasts of electricity, either in front of him or to his sides. He uses the same set of attacks during both phases of the battle, but during the second phase his swings generate forward waves of sparks, and the radius of the lightning blast they generate will double. Strategy. Quick step forward through Paarl's attacks, and try to focus on one specific part of his body. When he uses his static discharge, roll through it and attack while he recovers. Repeatedly attacking Paarl's limbs will stun him and dispel his lightning, allowing you to deal more damage. He'll regenerate the lightning if you let him get away, so focus on staying close by dodging through his attacks. If you alternate attacking different legs, you can stun lock him on the ground with enough damage and skip phase 2 completely. Environment. The parameter is dotted with a few irregular features such as trees and buttresses, but is otherwise completely open and provides no cover at all. Backing Darkbeast Paarl into one of the acute corners can help prevent him from evading your attacks, but be careful not to be cornered yourself, as his wide swings can make it almost impossible to escape. Old Hunter summons Defector Antol. When you drop down onto the narrow fenced path leading to Darkbeast Paarl, take a right to reach this summoning point. Yamamura, the Wanderer. Confederate. In plain sight along the path to the graveyard of the Darkbeast after dropping from the cave exit. You can only summon Antol or Yamamura to assist you, not both simultaneously. In order to summon Yamamura for this fight, you must first kill him in the Hunter's Nightmare and equip the Impurity Rune. Notes: befriend retired hunter Jura. Leave him alone during the first trip to Old Yarnum, and encounter or defeat Darkbeast Paarl first, then enter this area through Church of the Good Chalice, or Graveyard of the Darkbeast lamps, and climb to the tower without Jura detecting you until you reach the top. He will dismount his Gatling gun and approach you, but will not be hostile and can engage in conversation. Despite Darkbeast Paarl having 999 slow poison and rapid poison resistances, it is still vulnerable to such status. All enemies and bosses, except hunter enemies, have 999 frenzy resistance. Despite this, they are still vulnerable to such status. The only way to see it without modding is to use the Shaman Bone Blade on enemies inflicting frenzy to attack others. Rally Immunity. Darkbeast Paarl is immune to rally from bolt-type damage. Darkbeast Paarl can be encountered as a boss named Laron Darkbeast in Lower Laron, Labyrinth Layer 3. It is possible to hit Paarl outside of the boss arena prior to the Nightmare Fog with ranged weapons and tools. Use the binocular to aim accurately. After Paarl is defeated, you can open the shortcut to the Old Yarnum Lower Parish. Attack Patterns. Phase 1. Lunging Sweep. Long-range horizontal slash with an extremely wide arc. Quick step forward through it. Leaping Burst Slash. Long-range downward slash that creates a forward blast of lightning after 0.5 second delay. Step backward or quick step forward through it. Soaring Pounce. Long-range jumping slam. Combined hitboxes cover an enormous area. Quick step directly or diagonally forward. Charge Punch. Charges for 2 seconds and performs a downward punch. The attack creates a frontal sphere of electricity after 0.5 second delay. Quick step backwards. Burst Combo. up to 4 hits, a frontal sweep, 2 overheads that create spherical blasts of lightning, and a horizontal slash, quick step backwards. A lunging bite. Mid-range, counterclockwise bite attack. Strikes 90-degree arc on the right side. Quick step backwards. Thunder slam. Frontal vertical slam that creates a large sphere of lightning 0.5 seconds after the initial impact and trails sparks clockwise in 90-degree arc. Quick step backward. Static discharge. Massive spherical area attack centered on his head. Quick step backward 2 to 3 times, or quick step once the instant he raises his head to evade, using invincibility frames. Phase 1 Strategy. During this phase, you can handle Darkbeast Paarl in one of 2 ways. Either stay underneath him to avoid his dangerous frontal attacks and quickstep through his static discharge, or continually back away from him by strafing or quickstepping out of his reach. If you're relying on melee weapons, stay underneath of him. In order to reach this position, you'll have to quickstep forward around his head, bearing slightly to your left. If you dash directly towards him, you'll be blocked by his head and left front leg, leaving you vulnerable to his attacks. Make every possible effort to stay directly beneath him and avoid standing to his sides. He'll frequently try to drive you away with close-range swipes and slashes that will knock you down or cause you to stumble, setting you up for further combos and follow-ups. Power up your weapons with fire paper and aim for his legs to knock him down, but watch for him to curl up and begin charging electricity. These are signs that he's about to unleash his static discharge attack, and you'll have to pay close attention to his posture and audio to time your quickstep correctly. Watch for him to raise his head and wait for his scream. Time your quickstep as close as possible to the first frame of either of these cues, and don't attack after he curls up, or you risk being hit by the blast. The safest opportunities to recover your health are after quick-stepping away from his combos or while underneath him, but be sure to recover from the animation before he does. Attack patterns. Phase 2. Forward static discharge. Used to end combos, slams both arms down, and generates an enormous forward spherical area attack. Quick step backwards or sideways as late as possible to pass through it. Phase 2 Strategy. Darkbeast Paarl will initiate his Phase 2 by backing away from you and intensifying his lightning aura when his HP drops below 66%. From this point on, it is no longer safe to stand in front of him due to his extremely unpredictable attacks. Massive frontal lightning blasts and constant bombardment of sparks. Your only choice is to stay below him. Beware that in this phase, he will sometimes end his combo attacks with a nearly inescapable forward static discharge. The only way to reliably avoid this attack is to stay under him, which will prevent him from using it altogether. Destroying his lightning aura during this phase will temporarily disable all of his lightning projectiles, and the area attacks until he restores it. Take full advantage of this opportunity to deal as much damage as you can while he's weakened. The only safe times to heal are when you're directly beneath him and during the startup of his static discharge. Vicar Amelia, the former head of the cathedral found within the Grand Cathedral, praying to the holy medium of the blood healing. Disturbing her prayers might prove to be lethal. Preparation. Weapons and damage bonuses against beasts, such as the saw spear and the saw cleaver, are very helpful for this battle. So consider upgrading one if you haven't already done so. You should also have the Radiant Sword Hunter badge at this point, which will allow you to purchase fire paper in the Hunter's Dream. You may also buy a few from the shop or find some on a corpse in the cathedral ward. Another corpse in the area will have 3 numbing mists, which will prove useful for this battle. The Flame Sprayer is an extremely effective weapon against Vicar Amelia, as are Molotovs and oil urns. And as always, stock up on blood vials and quicksilver bullets before heading out. Overview. Vicar Amelia moves relatively slowly, but can cover long distances with her jumping attacks. In close combat, she uses sweeping and horizontal swings with long reach, as well as a forward shockwave and a few basic combos. She is highly weak against both fire and weapons that deal extra damage to beasts, making the saw cleaver or the saw spear ideal weapons for this battle when used with fire paper. The Flame Sprayer is highly effective as well, especially when used with oil urns and bone marrow ash. You can injure her head and all 4 of her limbs by hitting them repeatedly. Doing so will cause her to stumble, and the injured limb will take an additional 50% damage. Trying to get behind her is extremely tricky and requires proper timing due to the delay on most of her melee attacks. Staying there is effectively impossible because she will immediately backstep away and reposition herself facing you. During the first phase of the battle, she will move and attack slowly, usually using 1 or 2 swings at a time, but occasionally chaining up to 3. During the second phase, she will begin recovering your health every time it drops below 50%, and will attack much more aggressively, running or leaping towards you and adding several more hits to her combos. Strategy. Repeatedly attacking Vicar Amelia's hind legs will stagger her, allowing you to perform a visceral attack from the front. You may also choose to hit her with a Flame Sprayer blast during this time, which will inflict enormous amounts of damage, if used with a pinch of bone marrow ash, and strike Amelia with an oil urn before staggering her. Quick R1 combos with the saw cleaver or saw spear in their one-handed modes are extremely effective if you augment your weapons with fire paper, providing a substantial boost to your melee damage. You can deny or cancel her healing move by throwing Numbing Mist at her. she will try to heal, but with no success. Environment. The boss area is an empty rectangular chapel with no unusual features, forcing you to fight Vicar Amelia head-on, with no cover and nowhere to hide. The layout of this arena gives you quite a bit of room to maneuver, which is essential to avoiding Amelia's jump attacks and wide sweeping swings. Just keep the fight to the center of the room as much as possible, and try to avoid being backed into a corner. Old Hunter summons. Old Hunter Henriette. Go straight from the Cathedral Ward lamp, up the stairs, through the gate. Must have unlocked the gate first in order to take this route, and she will be straight ahead, near the ladder leading up to the body with 6 numbing mists. There are a lot of enemies in this area, so unless you clear them out first, the two of you will have a lot of fighting to do before you ever enter the Vicar Amelia boss arena. She cannot enter Odin Chapel itself. Requirement: 2 main area gates have to be open in order to summon her. Notes: during Vicar Amelia's grab attack animations, damage cannot be reduced by repeatedly pressing buttons. Despite Vicar Amelia having 999 slow poison and rapid poison resistances, it is still vulnerable to such status. All enemies and bosses, except hunter enemies, have 999 frenzy resistance. Despite that, they are still vulnerable to such status. The only way to see it without modding is to use the Shaman Bone Blade on enemies inflicting frenzy to attack others. Upon Vicar Amelia's death, Grand Cathedral Lamp will spawn, which will allow you to warp to the Hunter's Dream. Interacting with the skull on the altar after defeating Vicar Amelia will trigger a change of time zones, evening into night. Attack patterns. Phase 1. Axe Handle Smash. Mid-range forward shockwave that grows as it travels. Quick step sideways as to avoid her fists when they hit the ground. Jumping Slam. Mid-range air jump attack that travels forward a few meters. Quick step sideways. Cross Sweep. Spreads both arms and performs a frontal 180-degree pincer slash. It looks like a grab, but isn't. Quick step sideways or forward past her. Gnashing Grab. Right-handed close-range grab attack with a 1-second wind-up. Quick step backwards. Uppercut Sweep. Delayed short-range launcher that strikes a frontal 120-degree arc. Quick step into the attack, or away from it as soon as you see sparks from her claws. Phase 1 Strategy. During this phase, you should focus on injuring Amelia's hind legs to stagger her, whether using melee attacks, Molotovs, or the flame sprayer. You can avoid her melee attacks by quick-stepping either forward or sideways in the opposite direction of the swing. But beware that most of her attacks have delays of up to a full second that require you to dodge late in order to avoid being hit. Her uppercut sweep is particularly dangerous in this regard, and you must pay close attention to its timing, either quick-stepping backwards twice as soon as it begins, or once sideways in the opposite direction. Beware that if you stand beside her at very close range, you'll need to keep an eye out for her sideways swipes. If she tries to hit you with one, quick step backwards. Attack patterns. Phase 2. Recovery. Clasps both claws together in prayer and recovers health. Attack her to cancel it, or hit her with a numbing mist to disable it. Super Axe Handle Slam. Roars, then performs an axe handle slam that creates a long-range shockwave, quick step to either side. Bite. Short-range bite with near-instant startup. Avoid standing directly in front of her at close range. Jumping Double Slam. Stronger version of the jumping slam performed with both fists. Quick step sideways. Tantrum Combo. Slowly raises both arms above her and performs a rapid multi-hit combo. Quick step sideways or backwards. Phase 2 Strategy. When Vicar Amelia's health falls below 50%, she will begin using her recovery technique to restore it, and will fight more aggressively. You can temporarily disable her ability to heal herself by striking her with a numbing mist. But your most important objective during this phase is to avoid her much faster combo attacks while dealing as much damage as you can. You may need more than one quick step to avoid her phase 2 attacks, so keep a close eye on your stamina. Continue to focus on injuring her limbs and buy yourself enough time for a few attacks, and beware that she will now change up her mid-range shockwave attack with a long-range version that can hit you from across the room. This attack can be avoided by quick-stepping sideways, and offers a chance for you to hit her a few times if you're close to her when you dodge it. Try to keep her at mid-range if you can, and avoid standing close enough that you'll need more than one quick step to get away. Continue to wear her down with your melee attacks and fire paper, and if you have no numbing mist when she begins healing herself, dash in and hit her with a combo or transformation attack to cancel her recovery.